While he yet spoke, there came from the ruler of the synagogue's house certain which said, Thy daughter is dead. Why troublest thou the master any further? Now watch. Get the picture. The man came to Jesus and said, if you'll come to my house, my daughter's dying. She's at the point of death right now. If you'll come and lay your hands on her, she will live. Notice he set the conditions. The man set the condition. If you come and lay hands on her, she will live. Jesus went with him. Now, so as soon as Jesus agrees to go, right? As soon as that happens, what's the next thing that happens? He gets bad news. Okay, look at the pattern. Because it's going to be the same pattern that hits many of you. Because you're going to have some problem going on. You're going to take it to Jesus. Jesus is going to give you his word that by his stripes you were healed. And then the next thing you're going to hear, you're going to get a bad report. Somebody's going to tell you, oh, that situation, that's terminal. Oh, that situation, that's going to be debilitating. It's going to make you, well, you'll never be normal again. You're going to hear some type of bad news. Somebody's going to come. Believe me, people always come with bad news. Bad news travels much faster than good news. And so they're going to come and tell you why, and they're not going to say, Jesus is wrong. Well, you might have some that'll do that. Well, Jesus didn't do that anymore. But generally, they're going to come and they're going to give you a reason, some natural thing. And you're going, well, I've already dealt with that. I believe God. Well, that's nice, but, you're just in denial because you got to realize this is a real situation, as though the Bible isn't real, right? It's more real. Why? Because it's spiritual, and spiritual is more real than natural. Right. And so you're gonna come up against this situation. It could be maybe that it's not you in that situation. It could be you ministered to somebody, and then you get a bad report that their situation got worse. And then, see, when you hear that, why do you need to hear that? Why? Because the enemy wants to make sure that what he's going to do is he's going to try to test you at the fiery dart. And he's going to try to get you to see if you'll back off and go, oh, well, I guess it didn't work. And then that person will die because you retracted your faith. So you have to stand in these situations. It's good if they can stand, but one of you have to stand. And so whenever you hear that bad report, number one, you can stop yourself from hearing it in many cases. But if you can't, then you have to immediately take that thought captive because it will go in as a seed and it will grow up in you and you'll start backing off. The next time you start to pray for somebody, that thing will come up in your mind and you'll have to fight that thing off then, or you'll go, well, yeah, and now you move out of the prayer of faith into the prayer of hope, which we are not guaranteed an answer for. So I'm telling you how to stand. So once you have been prayed for, you have to stand. Once you pray for somebody, you have to stand. You expect them to stand, but most people don't know how to stand. So you have to stand for them in that case. Amen? Now, let's keep going. He says, while he yet spoke, they said, why troublest thou the master any further? As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken. As soon. Now, notice this is Mark, still in Mark, yep. Mark, the big thing with Mark is you'll read his word more than any other place, any other gospel. He used the word immediately. Why? Because Mark was a young man, and young men want everything done now, right? We got to move. We got to do something. And I agree with it 100%. I'm still that way, right? So I guess I'm still young in here, right? But it says here, as soon. You'll always see Mark talking about quickness. As soon as Jesus heard it. In other words, this man is standing there, the ruler of the synagogue, Jairus, and this man comes up and says, your daughter's dead, don't trouble the master. As soon as Jesus heard that, before Jairus could even respond, Jesus steps in. So as soon as he heard, now watch, as soon as he heard the word that was spoken, he saith unto the ruler of the synagogue, be not afraid, only believe. So here this guy just said it, and I mean literally as soon as it got out of that man's mouth, before Jairus could respond, before he could say something against what he had already said, before he could nullify or negate his faith, Jesus steps in and says, no, only believe. Don't be afraid, only believe. In other words, don't listen to that. What did you tell me? You told me if I lay my hands on your daughter, she will live. Stick with that. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a battle that goes on. That once you have been ministered to, there's going to be a battle. Why? Because the enemy comes immediately to steal the word that was put in your heart. And he's going to try to get you to change your mouth. Why? Because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And he wants you to change your mouth and disagree with the word so that he will have free reign to, first he comes to steal the words on your heart, then he comes to kill and destroy. And if he can get that word out of you, he can kill and destroy. So you have to keep him from stealing. If you can keep him from stealing the word that was put in your heart, you can keep him from killing and destroying you, your family, or whoever you have ministered to. Amen? But this takes a grit. You have to realize that this word is more true than anything you'll see. What the words that are written on these pages and on this paper is more real than words written on pages that have a doctor's name or a hospital name at the top of it. Do you understand that? It is amazing the number of times I've both heard and even know of people that just because they got the doctor's report and the minute they read it, literally they started going downhill. Beforehand, you couldn't even tell they were sick. They went and got tested for whatever, and they weren't even sick. You couldn't even see it. They had no symptoms. Sometimes it was a physical, just a regular yearly physical. And then they come back with a bad report, and immediately that person starts going downhill. Why? Because they have agreed with it. And you have the right to determine the condition of your own body.